Hi, Misha here, and it's another mini episode, Gun of the Day. And today's Gun of the Day, the U.S. M1 Carbine, or Carbine. Both are correct. Chambered for .30 caliber U.S. Carbine, which is 7.62 by 33. Nearly a straight wall cartridge. There's a little bit of a taper. And on the kind of main videos, I've done quite a few history videos on this. Talked about the variations and changes in service. And this is a gun that I've always liked, frankly, even more than the M1 Garand. The M1 Garand is a great gun, of course, and it's a full roundhouse power, 30-06. But in a lot of ways, the Garand was was a first generation self-loader. I think the magazine system, the on-block 8-round system, is pretty bizarre and definitely not forward-thinking. The op rod was asymmetrical, less than ideal. And 30-06 itself was less than ideal for a self-loader. Hence, reasoning why they really wanted to get a smaller cartridge, but ended up sticking with 30-06 because, frankly, the U.S. military had so many. But the M1 Carbine, in many other ways, was forward-thinking. Now, originally, this was actually going to be select fire, safe, or safe semi-full auto. They dropped the full auto so they could get it into production a little faster in 1941. But, of course, they came back with the M2, as well as the conversion kits for M1s. It fed from detachable 15 shot, later also 30 round mags, double stack and double feed, and they had straight in insertion. Wouldn't exactly call them drop free, but yeah, it had a bolt hole open, but it was a manual one. It wasn't automatic, although some mags would later have bolt hole open followers. Good, simple flip, iron sights. Simple rotating bolt system, short stroke gas piston. Originally no bayonet lug, it just wasn't felt necessary. The whole idea was to make this small and lightweight. They were really hoping for about 5.5 pounds. What they got was a little bit heavier, but not by a whole lot. And the .30 caliber round is really a pistol round, but if it was just a little bit more, it would have almost been an intermediate round, kind of showing the future. So yeah, while all the cool kids were really oogling over the M1 Garand in the late 90s, and Saving Private Ryan and all that were big news, I still had a soft spot for the little M1 Carbine, and you could still pick up carbines, military ones, or some universals, quite a bit cheaper. I remember at that time, it seems like M1 Garands almost all were in the 400 to 500 range. That was just kind of the price. But carbines you could pick up in the 200 to 300 range. And that was kind of just the price. And they always just spoke to me a little more. And even a few friends kind of made fun of me, calling them little Mickey Mouse guns. But the thing is, even though it does shoot its own round, you could always find M1 Carbine. In fact, surplus has been available on and off. And the ammo, at least the American-made stuff, was always non-corrosive. Now, some of the foreign stuff could be corrosive, but the American, By the way, 18-inch barrel. This particular gun I've showed in a few videos. This is an IBM. And it is still in its original World War II configuration with the high wood stock, flip rear sight, flat top bolt, push button safety, earlier style of bayonet, a barrel band without bayonet lug and the stamped swivel, early 2-rivet style upper handguard with the deep groove. Yeah. And this actually is a bringback that originally was given to my dad by a member of his church. The guy had it. He wasn't a gun person. Actually, the person was here in Arkansas several years back with his wife. They were missionaries. And he had this and a couple other guns back home. And so when he got back home, he mailed to my dad. And yeah. When received, this came in kind of a faux underfolding stock MP40 style. But luckily he had this original stock that went with it. So when this came to me, I immediately put it back in the stock that it deserved to be in. But the problem was this recoil lug, the recoil plate, was seemingly missing. The stock didn't have it in it. And I asked my dad if the MP40 looking stock had the lug in it, and he said it had the plate back there, but it wasn't IBM marked. Well, I had him mail it to me anyway, and sure enough, it was actually the correct plate. He's just getting old and couldn't see it. I mean, who am I to talk? But yeah, luckily, I didn't have to go out and buy another IBM part. And so once I put that in, that pretty much restored the rifle to about as good as it's going to get. I'm not saying it's 100% perfect, but the thing about M1 carbines, they were made to be parts interchangeable. And so a lot of the manufacturers did not make all the parts. A lot of them outsourced. Or if one manufacturer was running short on, say, barrels or whatnot, or barrel bands or trigger packs, they would swap around. So even sometimes when they were factory new, they could have been a little bit of a mix master. You know what I mean? But I've always just found the Carbine a lot of fun to shoot. I find that an interesting design. It's just small, light, and handy. And in my opinion, is much more forward-thinking than the M1 Garand. It was also the most mass-produced American firearm of World War II. Of course, it served through Korea and into Vietnam, and a lot of these were given away as Lend-Lease. And later just to American allies in the 1950s. But yeah, I just thought for a gun of the day I'd bring out another one I've had for a bit. If you'd like to know more about the history, we have a couple of videos you can check out on the main playlist. This really is just a very informal, very impromptu series, just to give content, to have discussion. But I always enjoy talking about the good old M1 Carbine, so if you have anything to talk about, let's do it in the comments below. Why not? They're cool guns, in my opinion. If you'd like to help support the channel, please check out the link to our Patreon page. As always, we appreciate you just tuning in. If you could, like, share, and subscribe. Otherwise, we'll keep putting out content as long as this COVID-19 silliness continues. Catch you very soon next time.